Good morning, afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen, all in crypto here, and welcome back, guys, on this smashing Sunday for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily market update. It's going to be a rather interesting one. We're going to be covering some pretty far out there news as it relates to the crypto space, news that has been dominating the headlines over the past 24 hours. To start things off, though, really what I want to do is take a look at this post from Chainlink. And the reason I'm doing this is because it truly shows the transformative nature of this space. And if you're not into Chainlink yet already, it might not be the sexiest crypto, it might not move the most just yet, but what it is going to become a staple part of this space as a whole, and actually the new financial system as Chainlink is going to act as that connective tissue from TradFi to sort of DeFi and the blockchain space more broadly. And this is Chainlink showcasing how technologies have essentially changed banking from COBOL, which essentially allowed for ATMs and digital banking, to Java runtime environment, which is more sort of web-based, which then allowed or enabled web-based and mobile banking, and now to Chainlink's runtime environment, which essentially is bringing banking on-chain in tokenized format. Everything's going to be tokenized. Larry Fink himself said this is the next thing. Chainlink's going to play a role in that. Chainlink doesn't actually do the tokenizing itself. What it essentially does is it's that connective tissue, if you will. It's that protocol that allows access into the blockchain space. And a lot of people look at Chainlink as a competitor. It's the opposite. It's an enabler. And I hold Chainlink's a good bag of mine because I think it's just so transformational. And we're doing very well on it at the moment. I think we're a couple 100% up. Obviously having accumulated. So this just sort of puts into perspective where we're going. We know that Chainlink are also working with DTCC, largest clearinghouse in the world, also Euroclear. They're working with Edward Jones, JP Morgan, Franklin Templeton, US Bank, State Street, BNY Mellon, Investco, etc., etc. So keep your eyes on Chainlink, guys. I just want to show this before we get into some interesting news, because it really does sort of highlight the gravity of the situation and the trillions of dollars that are going to flow into it as a result of it all. Let's get into the interesting news. First, we've got news from Richard Hart. We're going to be also hearing from Hailey Welch. Not a typical daily market update. However, these are things that are very prominent in the cryptocurrency space from a news headline point of view, from a kind of interest point of view, and we're absolutely going to cover them. And they are, in my opinion, as somebody that follows this space, interesting segments to come out of the sort of space over the past sort of 24 hours plus. Interpol issues a red notice for Hex founder Richard Hart. Interpol has issued a red notice for Hex founder Richard Schuller, also known as Richard Hart, for allegedly committing tax fraud. And the one I had no idea about, but it is alleged at this current stage, is assault. The world's largest international police organization, Interpol, has issued a red notice for Hex founder Richard Hart, also known as Richard Schuller, also known as Richard Hart, for allegedly committing tax fraud and assault. I had no idea about the assault, by the way, guys. A red notice is global request for law enforcement to locate and provisionally arrest a person, with Finnish authorities seeking Schuller's arrest. However, a red notice is not an international arrest warrant, so some countries just will ignore that as a kind of standard. Schuller was also listed on Europe's most wanted fugitives list. When the same allegations went into more detail, it's alleged that Schuller physically assaulted a 16-year-old victim by grabbing their hair. So you could assume perhaps that this is a female, although I don't know. Dragging them into the stairwell and knocking them to the ground. The remand order was issued for Schuller 3 months ago. This is by the Finnish police. Now they've put a red notice on him. Wow. And also talks about the battles he's got with the SEC. So breaking, Richard Schuller, widely known as Richard Hart, the founder of Hex and Pulse Chain, has now been listed on EU's most wanted page. Wow. It talks about initially the failing to essentially file for taxes for a number of years. And they reckon that the amount of tax avoided is counted in the hundreds of millions. We see this all too often with sort of early crypto investors. I think in the case of Roger Ver, total injustice, in my opinion. Go and support Roger through obviously his pages, but also through his book, Hijacking Bitcoin. In regards to Richard Hart, I don't know the full story here. I know the SEC was after him. There's now assault charges. What I do know is, which is really a breaking story, that he's now ended up on Europe's most wanted fugitives list. Now, typically, you don't end on a most wanted fugitive list for an assault. So I think there's more than meets the eye here. However, on that assault basis, this is the first time I've heard this. It's not great. He's also on Interpol, and they've issued a red notice for him. So I don't know if you guys have any comments on this in the comment section. We're just reporting the news. We don't know too much. I believe it's alleged that he physically assaulted a 16-year-old victim. Alleged isn't convicted. Also, we know about the sort of tax things going on, and the fact that he's now on Europe's most wanted, and also Interpol with a red notice. It's not looking great for him, I'm afraid. Let's move on. This is from Hailey Welch, the Hart Tour girl. I take this situation extremely seriously. I was going to do a voice then, but I'm absolutely not. You've got to be careful what you do nowadays, haven't you? I take this situation extremely seriously and want to address my fans, the investors who have been affected, and the broader community. I am fully cooperating with and am committed to assisting the legal team representing the individuals impacted, as well as to help uncover the truth, hold the responsible parties accountable, and resolve this matter. If you have experienced losses related to this, please contact Burnwick Law using the link below. Sounds like Hart Tour is no more. The token. I kind of feel like, you maybe knew what you were getting into. If somebody bought Hart Tour, it turns out to Hart Tour meme coin, they get rugged, and then they go, oh, this is unfair. I have very mixed feelings about people losing money on Hart Tour because it's kind of your own fault. I don't want to, maybe that's triggering some people. Maybe some of you are involved in that, and I'm sorry that you lost money, but the best way to learn in life is through harsh lessons, in my opinion. And if you're, speculating on Hart Tour meme coin, and you're trusting Hailey Welch to operate a crypto project, not great. But she's basically admitting complete guilt here, or admitting that really it was a rug, a total rug, and she's now basically flipping and likely going to be prosecuting the very people that enabled the whole thing. I think with these people, with these celebrities, they have a name, they have influence. People come to them and say, we'll give you this much money to do this. Oftentimes, if the money's right, they'll say yeah to whatever. And then you end up with situations like this. So I do feel sorry for people that lost money, but I also do feel like it's your own fault if you were gambling with this, just like those ding-dongs that continue to lose leverage to try and trade the crypto space, which already offers an insane return. And, they think they're in some sort of a parallel universe traders. Just ask for a P&L over time. You won't get one. Some of the best traders I know I've watched essentially come to the conclusion that actually when it comes to crypto, we don't want to really trade it on the short time frames, and we also certainly don't want to use leverage because it will wash you out, certainly the altcoin sector. So this is interesting. A couple of bits of interesting news, guys. Sometimes we do sort of videos like this on a Sunday, a little bit chilled out, where we want to cover things that are going on in the space. A bit of a macro thing is government shutdown crisis averted after Biden signs a stopgap funding bill. So essentially, they have now reached the debt ceiling. Biden's signing essentially emergency measures to continue to release debt and ignore the debt ceiling. And Trump is also, I think I read something about this here, saying that what they want is to include a 2-year suspension of the debt limit. Now, if you think about the Doge agency and things like this, the Department of Government Efficiency, are they really going to be able to combat what Bitcoin was created for, and that's money proliferation and the devaluation of it? My opinion is no. You don't stop this debt train now that it's rolling due to the kind of snowball that is behind you. But it was and I said this, it was very ironic how just the other day we were selling off on the back end of them essentially saying, look, we'll just print unlimited money, basically. And continue to do that and continue to increase debt through devaluing it. The space sold off. But when it comes to Bitcoin, when it comes to crypto, guys, you guys all know the plan. Stick to it. I do think we're having a bit of a pullback. December can often be a bit of an interesting year. However, we ultimately think, the broader trajectory for the crypto market is certainly one to the upside. I am really watching the dollar very closely. This is something I still do expect to roll. When exactly? is still out of the question. But when you look at the space broadly, you know, I do truly believe we're in very, very good standing, certainly from a technical point of view, from a fundamental point of view. You know, going back to what I mentioned at the start of the video, this technology is extremely transformative, and it doesn't just stop and start with Bitcoin. It actually goes far beyond that. You know, you guys know we're big fans of the likes of Hedera, et cetera, et cetera. Interesting news on Richard Hart. You know, now Europe's most wanted. Interesting story. Hailey Welch also kind of admitting that it was a bit of a nightmare, what took place, and actually the allegations were true, and she's now looking to sort of help the victims of her own project. Government shutdown averted, which means more money coming, and technically when we look at the crypto space, it is really beautiful, and we just want to keep everybody sort of calm in what can be turbulent times for the space. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks for watching. See you all soon.